Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Albert. I'm situated here. Don't you love beginnings of meetings and ending of meetings? It's just so awkward and quiet.
Well, I'm just wondering that is it only 2 agents to feel the technology challenge? I can't believe this.
We are home. We are home to of the most tech savvy agents ever.
I can see that because it seems like I'm stuck in 1800s here.
That's all right. How you doing, Bob?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you guys?
Good, man.
Pretty good.
I thought I saw you the other day, but it wasn't you.
Oh yeah, it must have been a very handsome, good-looking man that you saw, no?
It definitely was.
Yeah, it happens, brother. It happens.
But it wasn't as handsome. So then I was like, that is not.
You're a charmer. You're a charmer.
Bob, did you ever play baseball, man?
I did. I still do.
You like professionally?
No. I played like I guess you want to call it single A. I guess is the Canadian version. I played with Ontario Blue Jays.
I gotcha. I was gonna say you just strike me as a guy that plays baseball. You have baseball physique, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. I wish I did. I played baseball when I was 7 years old, and I was pretty good at it. And then I always thought I was good at baseball, and I played a few years ago, and as I realized that I'm not good at baseball at all. It takes a lot of practice and years of practice.
Yeah, and the age catches up with you. I feel a little bit at 40 years old. Once I play a game, I need like 3 weeks just to recover. So it's not easy.
I feel a week to recover from a work day sometimes.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I'm just getting used to stuff. Hey, Andre, how are you, man? Good to see your headshot.
How's it going, man?
Good, man. I liked your gi on the video the other day. What? You got nothing but sports guys over here.
Yeah.
I'm too out of shape for this meeting, guys. I'm gonna leave.
I have to put on a proper sweater in order for me to show my video. And I gotta stop eating too, so that's why I'm doing.
Oh man, I've been trying to kick off some healthy habits. I like set up my goal that after COVID I was gonna come back with a few pounds less, and it's a roller coaster. Intermittent fasting and late night sandwiches do not mix well.
Of course.
I just never realized that video games make you so hungry. I should not play video games.
Great job in the live stream the other day, Andre.
Which one? All with Tim?
Yeah.
Thank you. Did you
That was
guys like
great.
it?
Yeah, I did.
Awesome.
Yeah, beach investing live stream, Andre.
Sorry?
You did a beach investing.
Yeah, with Tim. Did you see it or no?
No, I think I missed it. I think I saw after when you posted.
Yeah, I just finished uploading it onto YouTube.
Yeah, I saw
I
it.
put it on YouTube and then my website.
I remember the days when I did that for you, Andre.
I know.
very
I miss
fondly.
it.
That means I've been working with you longer than I've been with Remax Ultimate.
Yes, you have.
I mean, more, I think maybe wait, no, almost 10 years. 2011.
Yeah, 2011. How do you remember that?
Because I remember being in the back end of your website, banging my head off the wall, doing things I didn't know. That's fun. I enjoyed that time. That was good times.
Well, you guys did good. That's all I remember.
Did you have a new website? You still have that one?
The one that you did for me was no. Now it's a different one.
Yeah. Well, I never did it. But.
Still the same content, just a different. I guess what are they called? Someone who's like supports your website, like a hosting company, I guess.
Yeah. HostGator.
Now it's Real Tech Pro.
Oh yeah, gotcha. Oh, did you just like move your whole database over to Real Tech Pro?
When you say, what do you mean database?
Like they just made a whole new WordPress site, did they?
Yeah, I think they made the whole new website. They just had to take all the links to all the YouTube videos
Okay.
and redo it. So they probably were banging their heads when they were doing that.
Well, now it's easy. It is like nowadays doing that task is like taking that YouTube video and legit putting the link and everything will be there. Back in the day, we used to use plugins, and these plugins would go bad, and then we were just pretty much scoundering the web trying to find a plugin that did what we wanted to do.
Oh, really?
Nowadays is like ridiculous. You can embed it directly on the site. You can do it really well. Back in the day, it was not set up for that at all.
Oh,
You were quite in the forefront of video on the web back in the day.
I had no idea.
For sure. Anyway, we should just. I'm gonna try and share my screen. Rebecca, I'll let you do the introductions.
For sure. So today we're going to be talking about canva.com. It's a website that essentially makes graphic design, social media, postcards, anything you want, like very easily. This is by far the easiest solution. Maybe some apps are a little bit just as easy, but canva.com is basically the best way to make simple graphic design for your business, for social media, even like email uses, whatever you want. So we use Canva in the brokerage, and it's also great for sharing your designs. If you have any staff that help you do your business, you're able to edit them on your phone as well as your desktop. The main thing to remember about Canva is that you're actually not saving files to your computer. So unlike like a Word document or a PowerPoint or something like that, you're not saving local copies to your computer. Everything is automatically saved in the website, in the cloud. And you can access the designs that you create from any device as long as you're using the right login. So it's great for doing social media, especially. They've recently added a couple new features that are awesome. If you can see under create a design, there's a little icon there for video as well as animated posts. So those are really popular nowadays when people are scrolling in their social media feeds. If they see something that's moving or if they see a video, people are statistically more likely to engage with that post. So it's great that Canva now offers this, but it's also great for very traditional kind of uses like a postcard or a letterhead or an invitation or a card or a PowerPoint. So we use this a lot. It's a great tool to know just because you're able to make things quickly, easily, and download them in whatever format you're using or whatever format maybe someone that's doing advertising or web design is able to use as well.
Just a little funny thing about this platform. It was created by a 20-something-year-old woman, and she is now a billionaire in her 30s. She's actually done quite well with Canva. I was gonna add one of the biggest selling point and the reason why we love Canva is it doesn't really take a person that's good at graphic design or that has an eye for design, because one of the flexibilities of this platform is people can make their designs public. And what this creates is creates an actual whole community of designs that are pre-done, that are free for you to use, and all basically you have to do is put your name, put your picture, and use it as you please. And it gives you the flexibility to change the whole thing completely. Whether you want to change color schemes, like if it's a black here, but you want to make it, blue and red, because those are Andre's colors, you can do that. And it's quite complex, but at the same time, is pretty much has made graphic design accessible for people that are not designers at all. Yeah.
Just before we move on, I just want to touch on the comparisons between the free and the paid plan. I would not recommend, I don't think we would recommend paying for the paid plan. The benefits that come from that are that if you find a template that you really like, sometimes it'll have paid stock photos that are included in that template that it'll push you to pay to use or to download. We have a list of a bunch of sites that have some great free stock photos. So we'll send that out to everyone that's attending this meeting. There's no need kind of in 2020 to pay for stock photos unless you really, really love that image. So there's no point to pay for Canva. The other benefit of having the premium account is that you're able to take a post with a certain, with certain measurements and replicate that to a different pixel size.
We have a workaround for that.
Yes. So there's no point for you to pay for it. Don't spend money on this. It's great free just how it is.
Is this something that, like, I see the create a design that says logo, like, can you create a logo even if I have no experience?
Yes, with logos, there's only one limitation, is with logo files. If you want to have a proper logo done, then you do need the paid account, because one of the drawbacks of the free account is that it doesn't allow you to do transparencies. So basically, a logo for it to be a proper logo design, it has to have a transparent background. Sorry, and the free version of Canva does not allow you to do that. So normally, but you can there's a million times that I've gone in here and designed the logo here, and then I went into Illustrator and made it into a proper logo file. But if you I'm kind of contradicting Rebecca, not really, but that is, you actually went to the one thing that would push you to get the paid version. It's transparencies. But for you guys, the only transparency that matters would be a logo at this point, because all the other stuff you can upload. So you can upload a logo into here and then use it. But if you're going to design the logo in Canva, you do need that access to transparency. So if you do need that, we actually, as the office, can help you achieve that. We have the ability to kind of take whatever idea you do in your own Canva and then turn it into a proper logo file. But yeah, like I can kind of go there quickly. If you go into a logo, it'll take you to a blank page, but then it actually, you have here a bunch of pre-done logos that are for you to use. And you can even just go in here and type in real estate. And it has some like this one looks like an agent of ours, and you can actually see, you can actually create. But the thing is, ideally, this white space would have to be a transparency for it to be embeddable on your site or things like that. So that we can help with.
I've got a question. So I can't save any of the stuff on my computer. It stays on the site. Now,
no,
does anybody else on the site have access to my designs, or is that private?
You have the option to make them public or private.
Okay.
You, like when you're in the editor, we'll get into that. We'll show you where to go, and you can actually like make it as private as you like or as public as you like. There's a lot of, like, you'll see a lot of the stuff that's public is stuff that is very, a lot of it doesn't have a lot of text, or the text has been replaced with like default text. The design aspect of things is what's become public. So it gives you the benefits of it being public is you can actually just go in here and type in whatever you like, and you definitely find. Let's say you want to find an infographic for real estate, you can just type in real estate I can type when I'm talking. Infographic, right? Social graphic on newsletter, and you have a whole slew of them that you can use. So that is the benefit of it, but you'll see there's no like brokerages attached to it. It's all pretty openly like, and you'll find some that are been shared here that do have that, but for the most part they're pretty generic.
Okay.
And just to clarify, Bob, you are able to save the design,
Yeah.
but the idea is that you're working in the cloud on the website, and when you're happy with your design and you want to use it for something else, you can download it in a various like file formats.
Understood. Thank you.
Sounds good. Yeah, so it's a pretty easy platform. We maybe want to walk you guys through some of the stuff that you can do on it right now with it. In the times of COVID-19 seems to be the word of the day. We can kind of walk you guys through like creating some of those designs. One of the most important things for you guys as agents is to import your assets into the system. So you want to look at like if you already, I know Bob, you have your own logo. I think I've seen it. And Andre, I don't know if you do, you might.
I don't really. I just have like, I don't. No, not
Yeah.
really.
Okay, well we can look into helping with that. But the most important thing is making your assets available on the platform. There's a couple of ways to do that. The platform has changed quite a bit, has become a bit more complex, and you can do things like folders, and you can actually have other people working with you. You can create a team, and all of your designs become shares that become useful if you're working with another agent or working with an assistant. That stuff, things with Brand Kit, you can add your logos now. A lot of the stuff here is part of the pro account. So one of the things that if you have a font that is associated to your brand and you use everything with that font, then the paid account would allow you to upload these fonts and use them as part of the design. For the free tier, there's a bunch of fonts that are free to use, but then you're kind of within those fonts and things like that. You can do a lot of management within here. There's a place I'm trying to find. Rebecca, you might know better. Maybe it's here in apps now. No, there's a place that you can find your all of your assets.
That's only when you're in the design you can see all of your uploads. So
No, there's another place. Maybe you can access it from within it, but I actually found it recently where you can actually go and manage all of your uploads.
Oh wow!
Yeah, let me just jump into a design quickly, just make sure. Take everything out of here.
Like, have you guys done stuff where you have your own assets in here?
Yeah, so every time that we make a design, we usually upload, if it's a listing promotional piece, we'll upload all the photos from that, and they stay there forever, which is great. So if you put your logo in once, it'll be there forever.
And you're not worried, and you have a free account?
Yeah, we just use the free account.
We all use the free account, yeah.
When you say you create it and then you upload it here, like you create it on your own computer, like on Illustrator, and then you upload it here, or vice versa, you create it here and then you put it to Illustrator and then you touch it up.
So when we talk about uploads or assets, what we're talking about are typically images used for the design. So that can either be a logo file, that could be your headshot, that could be listing photos, that could be a patterned background.
Yeah.
So when you upload those into Canva, they stay there forever, and unless you delete them, and you can use them in all your designs from there forward.
Yeah. So I can quickly show you. Yeah. So that's good. So let's kind of like we purposely started with like a fresh account, Andre, so that we can show you guys like how to basically the basic setup it'll go. So Rebecca and I will walk you through some of the stuff. I'm gonna get a hold of your headshot. Let's use you, Andre. Let's grab your picture for somewhere. Is this a good picture of you? No. Oh, you don't have a. Let me go back to the. Your picture on the site here. There we go.
You can use the top one there. But
Got me. Of course, it's slow. So let's say we're gonna grab your picture from here. We're also gonna show you a couple of tools as we go around. That'll be good for you guys. Like, take note of them. For example, I'm going to just quickly remove the background. I use a little tool called remove.bg, and it takes people's backgrounds. Now it doesn't save it in a high quality format. If you want like the full resolution, it will have to be done in like Photoshop. But this is good for like some web stuff. So
it removed the background by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, now that I just saved it right here, and
What's the
all
name
I
of that
have
site
to
again,
do.
sorry?
Say that again, Bob. Oh,
What's the
it's
name
called
of the background
remove.
site?
It's
Yeah.
called remove.bg. Remove. .bg.
Wow.
And it does that for sure. You can pay as well to like download. Everything's paid nowadays, guys. So you can actually like sign up to do it for like high quality pictures. For the free account, it downloads in like an okay resolution, but it works. I've used that a ton. So in order to import that into the site is very easy, Andre. We just take your picture is downloaded right here. You're familiar with that. All I have to do is drag it and drop right here. And now we have your picture.
That is
on the
awesome.
site. Yeah. So we do this for you. Like, this is what we do for like creating you guys' feature sheets and postcards as when you guys request for them. This is pretty much the process that we go through, like getting your picture into the site. Let's grab some assets from. There's a website that I use a ton for free pictures called unsplash.com. Okay, and it's got free imagery. So let's look at home or house, and all this stuff is available for usage. You can also do like Toronto. There's a few, not a ton, but you can do like a Toronto home, and you can find some pictures that are that have that Toronto look to them. So this right here is definitely a West End, East End look to things. Yeah, it just downloads for free. Let's grab a couple more. Sorry.
What's great about this site as well is that it's a lot more up-to-date looking than a lot of other stock photo sites. So a lot of these free sites are, the way that they get these photos are from photographers in cities. So they're capturing shots that aren't so commercial looking and that kind of lead better for social media and more young audiences.
Yeah. So this is a good like COVID one that people staying at home, things like that.
Are you guys able to send us these links? Like, just
Yeah.
so we,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
100%. So yeah, so importing these pictures are pretty easy. Just basically like grab them, throw them in here. They upload automatically. You can even like copy an image and paste it here and automatically upload as well. It's become way more user friendly over the years. Like when we first started using it, we only used it because they had templates, but it was still kind of janky to use. They've actually made some like significant improvements to things. I'm gonna get out of here because this was a local template. So I'm gonna go into something that we've been using a lot right now is and this specifically for you, Andre, would be YouTube thumbnails because you put out so many YouTube videos. So you can actually go here and type in YouTube thumbnail, it'll actually create it'll create a template. So you can either pick one that's already done. Let's pick one that's already done,
Mhm.
and we can modify that. So
Now you might
this,
be wondering why you have to use different sizes for each image. Different sites and different applications require a different ratio and size of an image. So if you're ever confused, Canva keeps up to date with what the best recommended sizes for images are.
so just with this, let's say this is a YouTube thumbnail. Let's kind of go ahead and modify this. And obviously, it's very wellness looking and whatnot. So I can just go here under uploads, and you have your picture. So let's maybe throw this picture here. All I'll have to do is pretty much drag and drop, and it'll automatically snap into picture here.
What?
And then you can adjust however you like. You can take this here and obviously with screen size a bit, but you can kind of grab from whatever, resize, and go in here. You can change the image by just dropping another image in, and it'll just drop in. It'll happen very easily. So let's use this one. Let's say you're talking about staying at home and what it looks like. So you can do this, and then here you can just kind of get into changing colors. So if you select within the design, there's different like whatever you click on, you highlight it, so you can modify each thing separately. You can move them around. You can add things to it. If I want to add your picture to it, I can just go here. I clicked it, and I can crop. So basically, just grabbing within the boundaries of the image, you can crop in how you like. Let's say maybe put your picture right here, and let's say how to stay sane.
This is very user friendly, it seems.
Oh yeah.
It really is.
That's it. So that it's really that easy. So something that I think I got ahead of myself is kind of explaining you what's going on in this editor. So I'll quickly go through it. So this is what the editor looks like. As you click on the different aspects of the design, you'll see this bar over here change a bit. So it says when I highlight the text box, it actually brings out the kind of the context menu for that text box. So you have a way to change fonts, to change the size, color, some of the paragraph parameters that you can change here. On this side, you have some of the within the design parameters that you can change. So you can pretty much you can center things. If I click center, it'll go to the center of the design. So it'll help you with design. A lot of it is a lot of this stuff lives here, which is like grouping things and making things symmetrical, making things like distributed, to make things distributed like evenly. So let's say, for example, some of the designs here under position, when you're working with this type of design, you're working with what's called a layered design. So you have different layers of the design that overlap each other. So forward and backward means that if I put this over, this is getting covered by this asset here. So if I have selected the text box and I go position, let's move it to the front, then it brings it to the front of the design. If you want to go backward.
So what's the thing that you said? Remember, you said it's not transparent.
Okay, so
I guess that does not apply for this. This is a thumbnail.
Sorry, what I meant by that is you cannot export a design with a transparent background once you're done here with the free version. So this design here doesn't have any transparencies, but the different aspects of the design are transparent. Like this text box is transparent because there's no background behind the letters, right? So if I overlay that over anything, there you see that there is no background, right? But if I were to if I were to make this a white box with some black text and I saved it as if I saved it as a PNG, which is the default transparent file, it'll still have a white background. It won't download with just the text with no background. If you see here, it says transparent background with the little crown, means I have to pay for the pro account in order to do that, right? So the transparent background is 90, I'll say 80% of the graphic design. Once you master that, you can call yourself a graphic designer. I'm kidding. But yeah, like you can modify this completely. Let's say you did this and you did not like it. There's actually no. Let me backtrack. We were kind of looking at the different options here within the editor. Under position, like it's within the design, whether you want to make things symmetrical or move them like layer file, move the layers around within the design. So if I were to grab this text box and I hit, there's nothing for me to grab, but like you can send things to the back, like to the background. So you'll start with the background being in the background of things, and things like text and things to be in the foreground of things. And that's kind of how you end up blending some of these images. So if I were to take this squiggle here and I send the backgrounds one, it'll actually change how the design looks because it'll be overlapping over the thing. So you can control with these little contexts here. You can lock layers. So let's say I don't wanna like I've set this layer. It looks great there, so I can actually lock it, and I cannot move it like I'm trying to move it. It's not letting me move it. I can move stuff around it. I can smooth stuff over it, but it doesn't. Once I lock a layer, it stays within. So it makes it super useful once you've set up a template. If you want to create, weekly ones, you can just copy. You click the copy here, and you can make a different one, throw a different picture, throw a thing, and now you have a whole different design.
Now, Daniel, there's one other trick that might be good to highlight,
Yeah.
showing how to center two elements at the same time using
Yeah.
Shift.
Yeah, good question. So I'm gonna lock this here. So if I want to center two assets that are within the design, all I have to do is click them together. So you can either use Shift or Control. To use Control, actually Shift with Canva. If you press on one, hold Shift and click another one, you grab both designs together. So you can actually go here, Position, Center, and it'll center them together into one thing. So if you, just to back up for a second, if I grab one asset and I click Center, it'll center to the design, within the design. But if I grab two elements and hit Center, it'll bring both elements to the center, within each other. Does that make sense?
So this is great if you're maybe doing a letterhead, or you're doing maybe some sort of print design where you want to make sure that whatever stack, maybe you have your logo, then you have your name, then you have your phone number. You want to make sure everything is perfectly even.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's great not to rely on your own eyes, and it's best to rely on the program, because the program knows exactly the size of each of the elements and will make sure that it's perfectly centered to the canvas.
Can you do feature sheets here? Have you guys done that here?
So 90% of our current feature sheets are done in here. Like pretty much all of them, all the ones that we use. And when an agent, when you guys asked us for feature sheets, any kind of asset, any kind of print asset, mostly, it's done in here. So like I can show you what our Canva looks like, and you'll see a lot of familiar faces and designs in there.
Can I just ask a question before we leave this topic?
Yeah.
Okay. So with respect to what you just did, this card, which is a YouTube thumbnail, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so my question is, unless we pay for the paid version of this, we are unable to download this with the transparent background, correct? Or we're not allowed. Okay.
Yes, but the only use you would have for transparent at this stage, like like thinking about what you guys do, the only thing that would require a transparent background would be if you were making a logo of some sort or
Okay, so
a
therefore we don't need to pay for that, because one of the
no.
things I was confused about is when you said if we were to download
Gotcha.
this,
Okay, so I'm just gonna
yeah.
download. Yeah, you mean like you mean that if it'll affect the transparencies within this
Correct. Yeah.
design?
So I was,
No, no, it
yeah.
won't.
So it won't,
No,
right? So
because
I will be able to download this as it is right now with
exactly.
Andre, with the
Yep.
writing, and it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what I
Okay.
mean by transparencies is when you're done with a design that has transparent elements within it, what happens when you download as a JPEG or a PNG or a PDF, not so much PDF, but PNG and JPEG it's what we call flatten down. So it'll flatten down into a single file, and that doesn't like basically once you download something as a PD as a JPEG. So I'm gonna do that exercise. So let's say we're done here. We're gonna download it. So I can select here. There's different things that you can download it as. So PDF, if it was to be a print, then you would download PDF. But let's say it's a JPEG. That's what it would be for a YouTube thumbnail. JPEG or PNG would work just fine. They're basically the same type of size and like there's a same type of format, but JPEG tends to be a bit higher quality. So let's just do PNG. Why not? So if I download it, this is kind of what it goes through. You'll see that it downloaded here to the bottom. Okay, so if I were to open that, I don't know if you can see it. Actually, I can just go like this. So this is what it downloads as. So this is just a PNG, a JPEG. So I can just take this is a picture. I can just go on YouTube, and when I'm uploading the file, I can just use this as a thumbnail. So if you can see that, I've been doing that with the training videos that we've been putting up in my Remax Ultimate. If you'll see a little shameless plug to my Remax Ultimate, which will take us to the next thing. So if you go here under training, these thumbnails I did in Canva just like that. So I basically just download the JPEG and then take it when I'm uploading the video. It asks me what thumbnail I want to use. Then I can just take that thumbnail and throw it in there.
And do you sort of have a template that like it looks like you have like a template there for your thumbnails, and then you maybe change the picture, or you change the title?
Yeah. So that's exactly what I did. So let's say that this is what you're gonna do, Andre. All you need to do for the next video that you do is just hit here, copy on the side here. You copy, and it gives you you can do like 30 or more pages. So you can click and change the colors. Obviously, you're going to change the color of the text as well. And you can make, let's say we want to make it look more Remaxy. So I'll take that and it's locked, sorry. I can just change the text. And one of the cool things that it does is it recognizes by default colors that are in the design already. So if you can see here, it says document colors. If you see here, it says photo colors. So there's colors that is identifying within the design that you can use. So this is for like keeping things consistent. So it's grabbing the purple from Andre's shirt. So I can do that, and it's kind of like already kind of matching with your shirt on here, which is pretty cool. And then it's got like, custom colors if you want to go into that. But one of the things is that actually takes away from having to find a color or something. You can have like default colors. You've got colors that it identifies within the design or within some of the assets that are already in there.
And just a quick note on that in terms of consistency, when you're first starting out, we kind of recommend to keep a file somewhere, whether that's a note on your computer or a document anywhere, or even just something in your email that has all of your assets all in one. So whatever red color you want to use, could be our red and blue, could be your own kind of red and blue, or whatever color you want to use, as well as your logos.
Rebecca, you can actually do that as well. I'm going to go back. You can actually do that in Canva. So if you go under brand kit, under the free.
Don't you have to pay for that?
Not for the free, not for the
Oh,
colors.
cool.
You can actually have a few. So you can actually, let's say, the Remax color is, or let's say this is your brand color. You can just save it in here. You can just save a couple. Yeah, that stays within the free one. I think
cool.
for the yeah, you have to do for the logos and the fonts, it's free, but for the colors you can do that. So now that I've created, let's say that once I've created this here, once I go into, let me just simplify here so I'm not gonna get lost. Once I go here, if I want to change that to color, probably have to,
You might have to refresh.
yeah, so to refresh it. So that makes it easy. Like if you're constantly using the same color palette, it'll help get things synced. So now you have, oh, I should have named that something. Let's call it Andre's colors. Sorry, I'm using Andre as an example. He was the first one to join, so he gets the privileges. So if I refresh here, then you kind of start creating your own kit of assets that are in here. So under uploads, you'll have that, and then under here, you'll see it says Andre. So you have your colors, you have colors. So you see here, it tells you that it's grabbing the colors from this picture, and here is grabbing the colors from Andre's picture. So you can actually play around with whatever looks good within the design. It'll help you.
I guess just relating to Bob's comment. No, sorry, it wasn't Bob who said it.
Yeah.
I forgot who said it. Regarding the free pictures, you just have to make sure that whatever you're using is allowed to be used. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. That is the correct answer. If I told you that we follow that to a T, I will be lying to you. There's many things that we've used in the past that we basically just grab from Google. It's not the right thing to do by any means, but it all depends on what you do with it, right?
I guess my point is that if you're monetizing your videos on YouTube, that's where I tend to find that there's
So I would say yes, Andre, stick, especially because you're putting content publicly. I mean, you can probably. I'm being totally like
yeah,
it's not right to do it, but I can't tell you that we haven't done it.
yeah, of course.
So we try with the proliferation of all these sites, because I mean, this is not the only site, by the way. There's this one. Shopify has one called Burst by Shopify. There's one called Pexels. There's one called Pixabay that has more like generic ones. It gives you a good, like, since that happened, we have used them less, like things like that. And it gets really tricky when you're being very specific. But you have a good portfolio of pictures that you can use from here to stay within all this stuff is royalty free. You actually have, because it's for personal use mostly, you can actually stay within those boundaries of like keeping everything.
We always recommend to go for the free photos if possible, especially for your website or anything you're hosting that's public, that's that you're making money off of. But if you absolutely love a photo and you need to use it for something and you don't have the license for it, it would be best not to use on your website or anything that's public or social media.
But if you're doing it like on a flyer, that's, you're sending a flyer to a neighborhood of, like, let's say you're doing 100 flyers that are printed within your, like, the only way you're gonna get caught doing that if that designer of the person that took that picture lives in that neighborhood. Other than that, there's no way. That's just.
But there's so much stuff out there that you really don't need to rely on.
100%.
On stuff that you don't have license to.
That's just the Colombian in me. I'm crooked by nature, guys. So. Yeah. So another thing, Bob, for you, like if you guys are starting from scratch, I meant to delete these logos from here, but if you were to, like, if you need to grab some of our logos, you can find that within my Remax Ultimate under resources up here. we have a Google Drive with a bunch of assets already. So under logos and images, you can find our Remax Ultimate logos. You can find the head office logos, like the official ones, and you can find some office pictures if you're like promoting the offices. You have pictures of our offices. You have some videos that we've done in the past. So there's a little resource as well, with some of the stuff that we've put together under here. So going back to it, so let's kind of move away from, that's pretty clear with the YouTube thumbnail is a pretty good use. Let's get into a bit more of like modifying a design, for example. I don't know.
Daniel, I have a quick question. Sorry, it's
Yeah,
Rosanna.
go
I
ahead.
keep interrupting you. I'm so
No,
sorry.
it's all good. We welcome that. What's up?
So before we leave this again,
Yep.
how easy is it to modify? So this is basically just a non-moving picture, right?
Yeah.
Similar to, okay. But how easy is it to modify a video? So if I were to upload a video here, do I require a specific type of video? And how easy is it to
So
modify?
it depends what you want to do the video. If you're talking about editing video, this is not the platform to do
No,
it.
I don't want to edit a video. I want to take a video similar to what you did to this. I want to take an existing video
Yep.
and add, you know, how to stay sane with Andre to it,
Okay.
for example.
Uh,
So overlay on top of the video.
yeah, Rebecca, you've done more stuff with video in here. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, so Canva actually is not great for doing video. Canva is great to make a title card like this, or make a zippy intro, and then take that into an existing video editor with the rest of the video that you're going to use, and use that to compile the final video. So
Yeah.
Canva is okay for making great for making thumbnails, okay for making intros, but you really don't want to be doing any kind of long form video editing in Canva because it really doesn't support it.
Yeah. If you're doing that, Rosanna, there's other apps that allow you to do that very easily, and the functionalities are similar to Canva. But you can look into an app like Quick on your phone. Which like you want to add text to a video, basically, right?
Yeah, so there's an existing video and I want to add text to it, you know, like how to stay sane with Andre on it.
Yeah.
Like boom,
So
right?
what you would do is, if you're editing, so the process for that to happen would be you create the image asset in here, and then you would take the JPEG and then upload it into the editor. So I'm not sure.
Into another program.
Into a program like an editor. So
correct. Okay. All right.
So
this one doesn't do it.
That's what I do. That's what I do when I do videos on Quick. So if I do videos on Quick and I need to do like so you would use this for like a bump, even if you went to the Michael Chris training, but he talked about like a business card. So basically like putting your information after you've done a video, or like as the title of the video, you can create those thumbnails in here and then just drop these images into.
No, that's not what I want to do. I want to actually put something over top of the actual video. But I understand it doesn't do it here. So that's my question. I don't want to take up anybody else.
No, that's okay. But that is a great question, because that would actually, like, we could actually walk you guys through doing some of that in a different session.
That's a great idea for another training, yeah.
Which, using some of these, so that could be like the continuation of this session. We can look into sprucing up videos and stuff. There's like easy editors that have like a lot of the stuff has these, like a lot of these what do you call it, like a lot of the functionalities of Canva have become very popular in other things like video editors. So for example, one that actually, if you don't have an iPhone, but Quick is one, but if you have an iPhone, there's an app called Clips, and it's basically the same thing. You can actually write those stuff in the videos directly into the video, and it's basically another layered file that has a video on the background, basically. But
So I
then
just wanted to say, I'm with Rosanna here. I'd love to learn how to,
Yeah.
I'd love to learn how to edit videos, whether it's like, because some people use Final Cut, which is a Mac program, and that costs, I don't know, a few $100s. If there's an editor that you'd recommend that's not for Mac, because I'm not a Mac user, I'm a PC user.
Yep.
Me too.
And even what you guys have used, and it's whether it's through your phone and it's quick or something like that, but something, if you don't mind, or if you can consider
Yeah.
doing another.
Yeah, definitely. We'll put up an internet. We'll definitely we'll try to definitely keep the schedule going, and we can probably do one for maybe next week or the week after, and that could be definitely. And we'll get into different apps for both platforms. We like to keep everything within iOS and Android. We'll probably won't get into like desktop editing. That could be its own thing as well. But yeah, there's tons of apps that are cross-platform that we can talk about and implement some of the knowledge that we're going on about here into that for sure.
Okay, thanks.
Sweet. So let's
Thank you.
get away from YouTube, and let's look maybe into a either. I think how much time do we have? I don't mind going a bit longer if you guys don't mind. But we
How
can.
about we do a Facebook post and then show how to replicate that exact Facebook post into the new file size for Instagram stories? The tool where you highlight and copy.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sure. So let's go over to okay. So if you hear there's some. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to drag here. So let's go here. Let's go Facebook post. Right. So
And maybe we'll do one for maybe a listing with a house photo.
Yeah, that'd be great. So if we were going to do that, a good place to start is if you just type in here real estate. I legit cannot type gun in this keyboard, guys. I'm sorry. Okay. So real estate didn't bring anything great. Let's check. You can also do like listing. Until you can see nothing came up. Anyways, let's grab something like this, for example. So this one has a preset template, but I don't really want it to look this way. But it's a good principle to start. It gives you some layers already that you can modify. Let's grab a picture of a listing. Does anybody have a listing up? Sorry, never mind. It'll take too long. Let me just grab a picture of my house. I was gonna say like a useful thing, but I could grab that easily. Let's say Rosanna just got the contract for this beautiful house here in sunny California because there's a palm trees, not the beaches.
Oh my God, I'm so there.
So I just downloaded the picture, right? I'm gonna throw in the picture. Like I said, so uploading the asset is pretty easy. I just drag and drop it. Working there. If it doesn't, like if it's not safe within Chrome, you can just open like your file explorer and just directly drag it into here. You can even drag it onto the design and it'll throw it in the design right away. I like to start over here because it gives me the option to like grab it and put it wherever I want to go. So I can either drop the picture in here and then kind of try and modify it, but I can also, if I want it to be on the background, you can also kind of overlay it over the background and you'll see that it snaps into picture as you see that right there. So you can do that. I'm gonna try and make this a bit smaller.
And if you see it as well, it also took on the images filter as well. So if you see it, when you dropped it in, it went black and white. You're able to modify any image that you have in Canva. You can edit it, add filters, add effects. Yeah,
you can adjust those parameters from here. So you see that it has like a dark background. Let's say you want to make that more of like a blue looking. So if you actually change the colors, it'll change the overlay of it. If you don't want to have that overlay, you can just scratch that and you can kind of snap it. If you kind of snap it onto the corner, it'll go and snap over and it'll just be the clear picture. Obviously, the resolution of this picture, so the aspect ratio of this picture is different than the design. So you'll see some clipping happening. So that clipping, that means that this area here and here, you can adjust. Like if I double click the image, I can adjust what gets clipped and what gets not. So that's a good point right here. That's looking good right there.
Can you drop Andre in that little orange box?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I want to drop Andre, all I have to do is drag Andre here, and I can just make him look nice. Looking over here, good looking man over here. The sensei of real estate into the picture.
Rosanna, you never looked so manly.
so something that, so let's say I want to, like, there's a bit more, like, in terms of design, you want to have an idea of what you want to achieve once you're doing here. I'm doing a lot of like kind of playing around, but as I come in here, I would have like a clear idea of what I want it to look like. That's what I like using those templates, because it gives you an idea of what it could look like. And once I find a look that I like, and actually like after we're done here, we'll replicate it. Word for Rebecca. We're gonna replicate some other file formats that we can create with this. So let's say this
another
is
note on that too is that if you find anything that you see on social media from another agent that you like the way it looks, it's very easy to replicate that in Canva as well.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with finding a general gist or a general layout and copying that.
Another thing that I forgot to mention is that a couple of things. Canva also has a lot of free pictures. It's starting to have more free pictures. So if you go here under photos and you see pictures that don't have that little crown, that means they're free to use. So this picture of Toronto, by the way, is actually free to use. So you can actually import that into designs if you want. And another thing you have is elements. You have a ton of elements that you can use either for free or paid within the design. So there's a lot of, like, if you like all these backgrounds and overlays, are basically just shapes that you can freely manipulate. So that was basically a square. Like that's basically just a shape of a square thrown into the design. And then is basically the same thing. I can grab the corners. I can modify it however I like. So you see here that it's over this. One of the use here is, like we learned before, if I just send that to the back, I can overlay Andre in the front, this in the back, and we got a design, right? So let's stick with what we had before.
Just a quick question: Can you upload as an image? Does it have to be JPEG or PNG, or can it be a PDF or a Word document or Excel document?
No. So an image file can only be JPEG or PNG for Canva. What you would do, depending on what you're trying to do in terms of like Excel and things like that, you would do screenshots of these elements. So if it might be worth, like, there's screenshot utilities in PC, but let's say I want to do let me just take a quick screenshot here. I'm just doing a screenshot of.
No, you answered my question. It's basically screenshotting it. If
So if I just take a screenshot and just trying to copy it here. I can just like take a screenshot, copy it, and throw it within the design in here. So if you were going to do like a table or something, you can create tables in here, and you can create graphs as well. So let's say you want to do like an infographic, you can actually throw in a graph and you can change those parameters and create a graphic in here. That, like a useful graphic with, I mean, it's a bit more complicated because you're getting into like doing graph charts and stuff like that. But you have that ability to do within here. That could be like another class in itself. Let's kind of bring it back to a listing post. That's a great question, Andre. Though, let's say we're gonna do it this way, where we like this design this way. We're gonna take. So you see when I highlighted this, this means these two elements are grouped. So I can just go here and ungroup, and I can just use this right here. Let's call that 1, 2, 3 Sesame Street. I just got that sweet contract from Big Bird, this new client. I can make that bigger just for like a design flow. This is not a playlist. This is not a listing. So I can call that 1 to 3 Sesame Street. Let's say I want to add a description of the property. I can just go here under text, and there's a lot of, like, if you just want to do basic text, I normally just go here to the body text, and it'll drop into the back over here. Once I throw it in here, I can change the color, I can change the font. So you definitely want to pick a font that will match the other design elements that are in here. Let's say this is, you will write whatever, 3 plus 1 bedroom and Sesame Street and birdhouse. So let's say those are the things. So then obviously this is when kind of like the creativity comes to mind. I'm kind of doing it from scratch here, but there's a lot of preset designs. We have created a bunch of designs that we can like maybe make available to you guys for this kind of stuff. And then I'm going to say, obviously within a listing, because this is going to be posted in Facebook, I'm not necessarily going to put here Andre Andrzejkowski, Remax Ultimate, because if I were to do a postcard, I would have to figure out a way to include all that information to make compliant in here. But because you're doing it within your Facebook account, you can probably just do it this way for now, for this stuff here. So let's say 1 to 3 Sesame Street. I can maybe grab another asset in here. Oops, sorry, I did not mean to do that. So let's say I want to grab another one of these red boxes. I can just go here to the top and duplicate, and it'll give me another one. So I can just maybe go up here, make that smaller. So instead of me creating, going and creating another text box and trying to find what font that is, I can take an existing asset, I can duplicate it, and then I can modify over here. So let's say I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to say, and I'm going to put the price, for example. So,
What's that little icon beside the lock button?
I'll show you this.
It looks like a link.
This one, or this one right here.
Yeah. So that's a link. So is that a hyperlink?
To here is a hyperlink, yes. So if you're doing for example, if you're doing a PDF, you can hyperlink directly within that PDF from in here. So yeah, so if I can just take this text box here, I can link it, and let's say I'm going to do
the website of the listing.
Yeah. Now, when you download this as a JPEG, it won't have the hyperlink. But if you're downloading it as a PDF, it will have the hyperlink.
Can you download it as a PDF?
Yeah, I can download this.
And once you publish,
go ahead.
I was going to say there's a button there to publish to Facebook, because this is a Facebook post that you're creating. Would it have the link? It would have the hyperlink there too?
No, that, because if you're adding a link, there's no, like, you cannot add links to a page unless you're doing it within a website. There's no value of me putting that link in here and then exporting this as a JPEG. That would be within Facebook. In the post, you will link to the listing page, right? So there's a different, like, there's a different.
PDF supports having links in it.
Yeah.
Say it again. Sorry.
Just PDF supports having links that are clickable.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's say I'm gonna this is gonna be the purpose. You see that I'm not like creating anything from scratch. I'm just grabbing stuff that are already here and making that look. Let's say that looks good. Maybe for a logo's sake, let's throw in the Remax Ultimate logo. So I can just grab the one that I already had here and then kind of bring it down. To making that. I mean, obviously it's not the best design at the moment, but you get the idea of what we're trying to do.
Now, Daniel, it might be good to show how you say we wanted the 3 elements that you have there in the bottom left. What if you wanted those exactly spaced evenly?
Right. So if I were to do that, good question, Rebecca. If you were to do that, all I have to do is highlight all three. So you can do that by clicking on one, holding Shift, and then clicking all three. You can also do it by like clicking and dragging, but you'll see that it will also grab whatever's on the background. So if I do that, it'll also grab the background there. So if you, let's say if I'm gonna do these two, I can like click and drag, and it'll do that, and then I can within position here, I can like center them, or like align to the bottom of it, align to the top of it. But if we're gonna do that even distribution of it, I'll graph the three elements that I want to distribute, and if I go here position, and it'll say space evenly, you're gonna look for vertically. So what that does is that it takes all three elements and it arranges them evenly within the space of the three. So what I mean is from the top of this element to the bottom of this element is going to take all three and space them evenly. So if they're already spaced evenly, it will be grayed out. So I'll say the vertical is not allowing me to do, but what I can do here, you see how the Remax is not aligned with the other two. I could just go here and top left, and then it'll align all the elements. So this will save you a lot of like trying to go really, and it actually gives you guides as you go. Like if you see me kind of moving it around, you see how it trying to tells me like, oh, it's not aligned to the center, it's aligned to these elements. So it allows you to do that, but it's kind of hard to like kind of sometimes like get it exactly the way you want it. So if I just grab the three and go into position and then go vertically, it'll drag them all thing and it'll align them to whatever I need to align. So that makes it look aesthetically pleasing, and it gives you it lets you like kind of group things on one side to the other side and things like that.
So what if we want to resize this to be a Facebook story?
If we want to resize this as a Facebook story, what you would do, so if you had the pro account, you could just click here, resize, and turn it into whatever you wanted. But because we're trying to save money in the times of COVID, we are going to, what we're going to do is I'm going to leave this open here. I'm going to go back to the beginning, and then I'm going to look for an Instagram story template. So I'll just type here Instagram story. You'll see how it gives you the proportion. So another thing you can do before I move on is you can actually, when you go create a design, if you do custom dimensions, I could go in here and say, I need something that is Instagram story size, which is 1080 by 1920. So I can just go here and type in 1080 by 1920 pixels, and that will give me the aspect ratio of Instagram story. But let's say I'm doing a I'm doing a custom design, a custom postcard, and it's 10 inches by 4 inches, which is kind of weird, but you can do that. I can just go here, inches, and then I can type in here 10 by 4, and it'll give me that stuff. So that gives
just a word of caution quickly about any sort of print material. Sometimes your printer, especially if you're going to get printed professionally, will require crop and bleed. They should be able to give you information about that, but make sure that when you are doing print files, if you have any questions about that, contact us. It's a little bit different when you're trying to have something be a physical copy at the end.
It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. But there's some parameters here that allow you to look at that while we do. So let's go blank because we're going to replicate. So we have here a design for Instagram story that is blank, and we want to use the elements from this image right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag over the whole design. This might not actually go as well. So there's a couple of things. Something to note is that when an image is snapped as the background, it won't allow you to grab it. So what you can do is you can do it two ways. You can just grab the background by itself. I'm not gonna hit duplicate, right? I'm gonna do copy here, and then I'm gonna go to the other design here, and I'm gonna go here paste. You see, you're it'll ask you, this is new. It's asking you to do allow see stuff in the clipboard. You're going to click allow, and it's brought the design of the background of the other picture. I can move it around, and kind of the same way we did before. And now for the rest of the elements, I can just click and drag over the whole design, and I'm going to hit copy. I'm going to go back to this design, and I'm going to hit paste. What that's going to do is it's trying to grab that aspect ratio of the other design to be on this design. So we're going to have to do a little bit of playing around. So what we're going to do is bring it to the bottom here. And now we're going to try and make it look more like an Instagram story size post. So what I would do is I would grab this here. Make it bigger. And then we can just kind of
But Daniel, to avoid doing all of these steps, what
Yeah.
we could do is initially when we're going to, if we want to publish something on Instagram, is just do what you said and put in the sizing, the correct sizing.
Correct. So all
Okay,
those
just to avoid
templates-
all of this.
all those templates for So
Okay.
the exercise that we had here before is that we started with Facebook.
Right, no,
Mhm.
I understood. I can appreciate that. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that in order to avoid all this, just at the beginning, know
Yeah.
what the Facebook size. Okay. fair enough.
Exactly. Yeah. You always want to go. You always want to go with whatever you need and start within those sizing things. That way when you go and post on Facebook, there's no clipping that happens.
Yeah.
So with what Rebecca mentioned about print, bleed, and margins, actually Canva started doing. It actually shows you the area of like margins and bleed. So you can actually allow this to show print bleed. It'll actually give you what that would do is it'll make the space bigger. But if you're doing print, like I don't know if you guys have been involved with bleed, what that means is the stuff that goes to the edge of a design needs extra space for them to cut. So they purposely make designs bigger and make sure that whatever goes to the edge of the screen goes past the edge of the design. So the edge of the design would be this dotted line here, and that space between this right here and the edge here is what you will call the print bleed. So you just got to make sure that whatever you're doing goes past that edge, so that when you send stuff to the printer, they can guillotine it, and it's not going to cut off. Like, let's say I'm going to do this right here. Like, let's say Andre's face is here. If I were to send this image like that, the designer would be, oh, no. You need some print bleed there. So let's give me some space that, if I were to cut Andre's arm right here, Andre would be fine with it. But if I were to cut it right here, I would cut his eye off, right? So that's what they mean by like print bleed and stuff. Like, because as you move on to doing postcards and stuff like that, if you're doing it by yourself, you'll get the designer of the printer kind of talk about that quite a bit. So that's a bit of like a more advanced concept, but those capabilities are here within Canva. It's not super customizable because when you're working with like real designers, you can actually adjust how much bleed you need and things like that. But Canva kind of gives you enough space that, like, I personally have done a lot of postcards for Rosanna. These postcards, the bleed I cannot adjust, so we actually work with the printer on making sure that they're okay with that type of bleed.
And they're awesome postcards, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Daniel, Rebecca, how do we know what size to use? You mentioned something about like a 10 by 4 or something like that. How do we know
So
what size to use?
when it comes to postcards, before you start a design, know what size you're going to use. So there's different size. Like there's default size for postcards. So the most common ones are you can actually go here. If you type in postcard, you actually have some templates here. So you see if I kind of hover over it, it tells me what type it is. No, I don't. You got a postcard. You can also do brochure. Brochure. This is a folded one, so this one's an 11 by 8.5. The ones that we do the most and that the agents use quite a bit are you can either do a 4x6. There's some here, so I just gotta find the right wording. Flyer. I think it's flyer. So under flyer, you can do. I'm trying to find. I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of a. So there used to be some 4x6s and 7x5s in here. So what you can do is if you look up flyer sizes, there's like a little chart that tell you what size a design can be. So this is what print companies. If you just go Google Images, you can. Like this is where you get onto some designs that are like a half page. Like if you get a newspaper telling you I need a half page design, for example, they mean it's a half letter page. So you'll have so if it's 8.5 by 11, then it'll be what would that be? That will be yeah, it's like a 5.5 by 3 or like sorry 4.25, right, something like that.
It's always best to
Any
kind of
size. Sorry, is any size compatible to post on Instagram or Facebook?
So
Mentioned
with
something about a specific
Instagram and
size.
Facebook, you don't have to look for the dimensions. If I just go up here and type in Facebook,
or
right?
right below under created design.
Yeah,
It
right,
has
like right on the
other-
whole page of Canva. You can still see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay, so under here, you have different. So you have a post, you have an ad, you have a video. So you'll see those dimensions in here. So you don't have to go to create a design and go custom and then put those the dimensions. You can go here and select those automatically. So you're gonna do Facebook post. A Facebook post is by default 940 by 788. But if I just click here, it just gives me those. It gives me those designs. So if I look at the design here, if I look at here under file, it is 940 by 788. What I'm talking about is that if you're gonna do a flyer and they say, and the printing company tells you I need a 6x9 flyer, I can just go create a design, custom dimension, and then I can go under inches and then just go. If I do 6x9, it's going to be a vertical design. And if I go 9x6, it's going to be a horizontal design. It always goes width and height. So let's say let's do a 9, let's go do a 9x6 design. So that'll give me this postcard design. By default, it'll kind of recognize that it's kind of a bit of a flyer. So you'll have some preset designs in here. Let's try again with like real estate brochure. There used to be way more real estate designs. I don't know why I'm having so much issue. So here are some, right? So you have like a looking for an agent. So I could technically just use this right here. Obviously you will change that. When you see this watermark here, will be like Canva's trying to get you to pay for that design. Even if it's a paid design, if I just replace that with whatever picture I want, I can download it for free. Okay. So if we're gonna do a postcard, postcards are a bit more complex than. Did I just get out of it? A postcard will be more complex than a Facebook post or than a Facebook post or something. The reason why is there's a lot of compliance that you have to fit into the design. So a lot of the times that's why we ask you guys to make stuff double-sided. And there's a bit more considerations onto what to have in the postcard. So you're gonna have to have stuff like your contact information laid out nicely, the brokerage logo, your logo if you have one, your picture if you want to use that, plus whatever you want to portray in the postcard. If you give me a second, I can just import a kind of a set design from my Canva. 1 second.
But yeah, if you guys have any questions about compliance for your post, or you're curious about how to make your postcard, or if you want us to create templates with you in collaboration that you can then populate on your own, it's great to know how to use Canva because you're able to make things quickly and professionally at any time of the day. You don't have to wait for business hours. You don't have to wait for a graphic designer's turnaround time. You're able to kind of do all of it yourself, which is great.
I can just go quickly here to the, I'm going to do a 5x7 quickly. I just found a design here. So I'm going to go here. Let's say we're going to do a 5x7. So I just grab inches, 5 inches wide, 7 inches tall. And I can grab I'm just going to grab a design that's already done here. So this is one of the agents. So I just grabbed it from a design I already had. Of course, none of the pictures came in, but that's not gonna work. It's a different account. But what we can do is let me grab something with less pictures. Just gonna grab this one here. I'm gonna throw this in here. There's no pictures in there, but what I can do is you'll see this is making this a just listed card. So I have a just listed title, a picture, a description, and some contact info and the brokerage logo. So I'm going to populate that so it looks better. So I'm going to throw the logo in here. I'm going to throw the picture in here. I'm going to, let's say, don't have a logo. This is Maria. So this is so I got the contact info. So these are all text boxes. So I can make these bigger here, make it look nice. Let's say this is going Grable. I can change that here. You can get a lot of those pre-made assets from all the other templates. So if you, let's say you we were looking for one here we didn't find, but if I go back to home and then I just type in real estate, let's see what I can find. So in the real estate, there's all kinds of designs and all in here. I can just open a design, grab whatever assets I want to grab from it. So let's say I like this layout here. I can just grab this here like we did before, right? This is a lot of kind of the cheating that we do to make it look like we spent 3 hours on it, but we didn't really. So we're just kind of giving you a lot of insight onto stuff. But I mean, some stuff do take time to, let's say we want to make it more like this, more modern. So you can really, you see by me doing 2 steps, this looks really cool. I can just kind of play around with it. But I like that. I would use this. So all I had to do was copy it from one of the pre-made designs into here. I threw a picture of the one, and then all the rest is just modifying text. That's pretty good. This is a compliant site. I can just print this right now. Some things just a little bit getting off topic. Things that I can make here, point here that makes things compliant is your information is laid out properly. It's representing you properly as part of our brokerage. Yeah, your brokerage logo needs to be prominent. And it's in there. You have a disclaimer, then not intended to solicit, etc. It's all done in here. Let's say I want to make this double-sided. I can just add another. I can add a blank page, or I can just duplicate the design. I can just either add a new page down here, or go design here, and I can just either start with what I have. I can clean it up. I can take the contact info out. And then make this into maybe a more detailed description, or I could take this here and say looking for home, and then I'm just kind of going very quickly and just kind of show you kind of what our thought process to creating these where we get the ideas to creating these postcards from scratch. When you guys don't have a specific idea. So what I'm gonna say, I think we're I could easily keep going here until 12, but I don't want to keep you guys all day. I'm just gonna say, just play around with it. Create a little bit of a kit. Once you created one design with your aesthetics, duplicating and creating other designs becomes very easy. Something that we do at the brokerage is that we don't start from scratch every time we create something. If I want to, let's say I'm going to do a booklet. If I'm going to do a booklet and these are the fonts that I'm using, I'm basically going to create a new account, but then I will just start copying stuff from here. That saves me from creating a text box and finding what font I'm using and what size. I just basically start copying text from here, put it into my booklet, and then that way I already have a baseline that I can use for creating the design that I already kind of has that look and feel of it all. I just want to open up. Does anybody have any questions? Things that you want to like take away before we go?
The template that you have here, do we have access to something like this that we can start adjusting our own text boxes and our own sections to put our pictures, etc.? That's already compliant, I guess, the way you have it.
I can make. I do. I can make one. I can make like a generic one, like just basically clean off some agent's information out, and give you that, or we can just give you a like feature sheet template, for example, that might have like another agent's information, but it's just a contact information. We can give you that. I can clean one up. I can clean a design and give it to you guys to play with, and give you the ideas of compliance. If you want to know about compliance as well, we're pretty well versed with it. Jen is well versed with it. Larry, Tim, and then the RICO side. If you go on the RICO and you look at RICO compliance for advertising, it actually has a whole list of things that you need to look for when creating this. That will be a good baseline for you. If you're going to be doing a lot of this stuff on your own, I would say we'll give you that baseline to play with, but make yourself versed with what you're doing. That'll keep you from having to send stuff to us for review when you're putting stuff out. A lot of agents do that. They comment, like Jimmy Sukas does that consistently. He does his own designs all the time, but then before he posts them or sends it to print, he sends them to myself or Rebecca, and we check for compliance. But we want to empower you guys to like know your own compliance. Sorry?
Another thing as well is that Remax also has a brand guideline that shows you how to, if you really want to like use the power of the brand, they have a whole brand guideline with how to best use their logos, how to best use their images. So that will be also something to read up on as well. You just search, we can send it to you, or you can Google search Remax brand identity.
So a really good practice, the way I'm looking at this is if you make a template for your Facebook, one for YouTube, one for Instagram, you make it, let's say you're putting 7 videos in 7 different places and you keep reusing these. So we send them to you, you make sure they're compliant, you make sure they're good. And all we're doing is just popping in new topic lines, new subject headers, and just releasing this on the audience, right? It's as simple as that.
You don't even have to, like when it comes to thumbnails, you don't have to put, like when I mean by compliance, you don't have to put all this stuff in every single thing you do. You have to do when you're sending stuff out, like print marketing. You like if you have a postcard, like there's really strict guidelines onto what needs to be done. But if I'm doing a YouTube thumbnail, I don't like within the video. Your compliance comes from your YouTube channel being branded with your face and your information and all that, or putting your information within the video. It doesn't have to go in the thumbnail necessarily.
Yeah. But I mean more, not even so much compliance, but literally if we just sort of set it and forget it, right? Like if we create the template, we can just keep reusing this over and over again.
That is what we do, Bob. Really, okay. Like I can show you my Canva, and I have one design, and as I scroll down, like for example, this, I just copy it from this one. This is for Maria, but like the next page is for Jeff Aroni, and the next one is for, like I just take it. If they're using the same kind of template, I just reuse it, and change it as I need to, because it creates that, like imagine if I had to come and sit and design a thumbnail every time I'm coming in here. Yeah. So it's basically like duplicate, and as you get tired, like the more you do, the more like templates to become. And the cool thing is that when you go to the home, if I see here under your designs, you'll see that everything that I've opened is already in here. So you'll see, you'll you'll kind of have like that little, if you're clean enough, I started opening stuff willy-nilly and now I have a bunch of stuff here that not necessarily I want to keep within my kind of portfolio. So I can actually like and like select those and clean those up. Like I can delete them. I can take I can also like select these assets here, and I can group them into a folder. With the free account, you have like a couple of folders. I will have to like go under folders here and create a new folder, and you have a little bit of like organization like abilities in here that you have. Oh, here, Rebecca, uploads. If you go here on the
Oh, there
folders,
you go.
if you go uploads, it actually shows you. It gives you an like under uploads, you can upload things into here without having to do it into a design.
And the upload capacity for your account is actually huge. You get
Yeah.
so much storage. You can
Yeah.
keep things in there for a very long time. And one thing as well is that if you have kind of listings on the go, a great use for that is folders named for the listing.
Yeah.
So that if you ever want to repost or
Now
suggest-
with the free account, Rebecca, you only get like 2 or 3 folders.
Oh, you only get 2?
Yeah, like you get a
Okay.
couple. You don't get it like with the paid account. You get unlimited folders, and you can do that, and you can create assets that way. But you can actually, you can actually create a folder with like a social folder, and you will have those templates in there. So you'll have like a Instagram folder, an Instagram template, a Facebook template, a YouTube template, and that way you can create that consistency through. You can do like a postcard folder, and then have postcards in there. And things like that. And oh man, like the ability that you have to create things within here are pretty much endless. Like you can make a business card in here. You can make like we talked about stuff with we liked the stuff, but you can actually create letterheads, certificates, anything that you want. If you want to do like a gift certificate for your clients, a lot of them use here. And there's a lot of useful templates. If you get out of real estate, you can also I kind of like pigeonholed it a little bit. You can create templates for stuff that are not real estate related. A lot of this stuff that I use, for example, this one is similar to an invitation that I did a couple years ago for the summer party. I actually grabbed like a cool looking postcard. It's a calendar. So I use like a cool looking design. So I'm just kind of grabbing that. It's like, I like that picture. But I'm not making a calendar. But like I have to do is just grab these elements here. Is not a calendar anymore. Now it is a calendar size, but it's not a calendar anymore. So then that already gave me like a aesthetic that I can use to create a design. So that's kind of getting more into the weeds of like how do we think as designers and what we do. On your postcards, like we do that all the time. Like you have a bunch of ideas and stuff for kids and things like that, but you can turn. Like I use this design here, I believe this one, the invitation for that party that I did a couple years ago. Actually, you see here, just listed postcards. This is what I was trying to find. I keep using real estate, but this is a just listed card that's already done. If I click here, I do that. It's done, and then I can do a thing that, and then I can just throw in all that compliance from in here. Sorry, let me grab that again.
Again, just to confirm, this is that template you just chose without looking. Was it free for us to use, or is it royalty free?
That picture, if it's not highlighted,
with that Canva overlay that has the
sorry,
checkers.
let me close here. I'm just getting lost now.
So in other words, the picture itself might not be usable, but we can use
this picture right now here is usable. I mean, obviously, you're not going to post the picture for a listing that you have. But if you're using a design, if the picture is not watermarked, yes, you can use it. If it's watermarked, it'll ask you to buy it when you download it.
But in this example, you can simply take that picture and put in the picture of your listing and just use this template, and that's it. And send that
Absolutely,
off, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I just grab it. This whole time I'd be. Let's say this is a property for sale. I just grab here, throw it in here, and
Yeah, that looks more like a Toronto home.
yeah, or like this one, right? Like this
Yeah.
one, like a Toronto, right?
No, that's fantastic.
You would do that, and then you would just go here and change it to the details of your listing. And then what I normally do So I'm gonna finish off this listen here. Let's say this is you, Andre. I created, I already have this in a postcard here, but I'm working on a postcard over here. All I have to do really is find, sorry, I keep getting lost. I grab the contact information from this one. I would copy that. I would throw that. Let's say we're making double-sided. I'm going to do this over here. I brought this design here. This is like your typical.
Can you show photo grids, Daniel?
Yeah.
Just quickly, like maybe right above this.
Yeah, under photo grid. So let's say I'm going to do, this is the front of the house. I want to do like a nice like overlay of all the pictures, all the other house, other places of the house. I can go here under element. See, this is where Rebecca and I disagree. Rebecca likes using grids, which makes it easy. But under, this is where you and I are going to disagree, Rebecca. With grids, you can actually throw this here. This is where like we do it differently. Rebecca does a lot of grids here. This is the way she does it, like, and she puts in, then you can, I'm just, give me a second, let me see if I got that many listings.
Yeah, with Canva, there's a lot of different ways to accomplish the same thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter how you kind of get there. Sometimes it's very kind of a little bit messy. Sometimes it's super clean. Sometimes you're just modifying a template. But as long as you get the end desire of like that you like what's on your screen, it doesn't really matter how you come to that.
Where did the grid come from? What section did that?
The grid is
That's
in-
under elements here. So under elements,
Oh, okay, yeah.
you
Thank you.
have
Sorry.
grids in here. So under grids, I just don't want to keep like circling through pictures. I can just take any picture and drag it into here, and that creates a kind of a slide. What do you call that? Like just a grid of pictures of like kind of like you would do on a feature sheet. The thing with grids is what a grid cannot be modified from its original design. So I personally feel a little bit constrained by grids. Is easy to use. You can like adjust the size of the grid, and you can like kind of modify it, but it kind of keeps the same idea together. If I were to do more of a free form design, I can create that same grid effect. If I were, I'm just gonna delete the grid, but if I were to post a picture of the house and duplicate it, this is a bit more like advanced. This is like Rebecca's approach is a bit more friendly for you guys at this point. But once you want to like get a bit more creative with the grids, like I can actually create my own grid by grabbing 4 elements. Sorry. If I grab 4 elements and I space them evenly, the grid, I can actually take that, highlight it all together and group it. That turns my design into a grid. So I can actually play around with it just like with the grid. But the grid has preset designs. But if I wanted to make a grid, maybe I'm gonna kind of go on a limb, but if I wanted to do like stagger like this, I could not do that with the grid. I would have to go here and do it automatically. It's a bit more like intensive, and you can go to each picture and kind of this is something that I do like just to fill the design a bit. I change the aspect ratio of some images just to make it like line up nicely and things like that. You can kind of get that same grid experience by grouping them, and then by grouping them, it actually like keeps them snapped to each other, and things like that. Yeah. So I'm gonna use the grid for now. That just gives you the two things. So Rebecca wins. Grid it is.
Two last things that I just wanted to mention quickly. One thing is that you can use Canva for a lot of things you might not remember to do. So you can use it for having cards sent out to your clients. You can use it for having like little images within your emails. You can have it for little gift tags. You can use it for, there's a lot of other things that altogether, if you spend not even an hour making kind of a template with your logo, your colors, all that, you can make a really unified kind of brand for yourself that just looks super professional. It makes it seem like you have either a full-time graphic designer on retainer or you have an assistant that's helping you do everything. And then the last thing I want to bring up was on the left-hand side when you're in your main page, you actually have Canva University, I believe it's called, or no, Design School it's called. And that's training from Canva about how to use the site. If you want to get more in depth about it, they have very simple kind of walkthrough tutorials about how to do everything that we're doing. So if you get a little bit lost, that's a great place to start.
Like what's interesting is that before this Zoom webinar that you guys created here is I was looking at the websites called Fiverr and 99 Designs, I think it's called.
Yep.
So they're basically, I think they're places where you can ask people to design things for you.
Yep.
People bid on them and then you choose, I guess. So, but like I was looking to do a YouTube banner. So I guess you can probably do that here.
Oh, you can, I don't know if you can still see my screen, but you can actually just do here, it's called channel art. So if you go here, YouTube channel art. No, please don't, please, if you're doing that, please don't hire somebody to do this for you. On
Sorry,
Fiverr.
say it again.
Like, please don't hire somebody on Fiverr to do this for you.
So
It's
just to
very-
let everyone know, most people on Fiverr are using Canva or programs like
Yeah.
Canva to fulfill those requests.
Really?
That's why
And
this
you-
training's so good because I was doing the same as you, Andre. I was actually going to reach out to Fiverr because I don't have a graphic person on staff, and I was going to say, can you design these templates? So you've saved me a lot of money today, Daniel and Rebecca, like a lot.
Yeah, like,
I agree.
and we're always available to assist you guys with ideas and things that you want to do. In terms of like, if you like, we have a lot of people that are pretty, they like doing their own stuff and they like learning this stuff. We're always available to help you guys with this. Our front desk, sorry, uses Canva for feature sheets. So we actually created these templates, and when you guys request feature sheets, they're all done in Canva by our front desk.
And I remember, I think it was Bob mentioning earlier that there's these are called your assets. I don't want them to be public though. Like, how do
Your assets are not public. All that stuff that you put in here, like the assets that you create, they're not public. You can make them public if you want to. So if I have a design here, you see where it says share. So if I do share, there used to be one, like, they changed where it goes.
I think it's published in the top right.
Oh yeah, they change it. Yeah. So if you publish it, so if you you have like different ways you can like, because they also have the ability for you like get stuff printed with them. I think it uses like US suppliers and stuff like that. So I wouldn't recommend that necessarily.
Yes.
But you can actually like send stuff to print from within here. I don't know where it goes, but you can actually, this is all new stuff that you can do now. Before you basically can just like share or whatever. Under share, you can actually control, who sees it. So let's say Rebecca and I are working on this together. I can just type in here Rebecca's email and send it to her, and she'll get a link, to collaborate on it. And we can actually work on it together, not simultaneously, but I can like get it started and then say, okay, Rebecca, you finish it. So a lot of the agents send this stuff to us this way, where they create a design and then just click share, and then we can just quickly click on the link. It opens the design. We can offer advice. We can like adjust it if there's something that needs to be adjusted. We can do it directly, and then that automatically goes on your side of things once you like refresh the design or whatnot.
So to make it, to create your private account in Canva, you just go to canva.com and then you open up, or you sign, or you, I don't know, sign in, I guess.
Yeah, you can just create an account using your email. I accidentally created mine with Facebook, and it's been years of me trying to like get it separated from the brokerage with my original account that I used for the brokerage was my personal account, and I've been still trying to like disassociate it with it because now it just do. I would recommend do it with an email. Don't do Facebook because it can get messy. So just go on the sign up, put your email, your account, and they'll send you a confirmation, and then you have your logins. You can connect your Facebook after, and then you can just say login with Facebook. I'll tell you there, but make sure that you have that connection done properly because I did not, and I'm paying for it still.
And what's the benefit to connect it to Facebook?
Sometimes like if you forget your password or something, you can just log in with Facebook, and it takes you there still. Yeah, it's that easy. I don't know if there's anything you guys want us to cover. You feel like we got.
You guys have been great. This has helped, and just like Bob said, like I was looking into Fiverr and wanted to have people create logos for me and banners, but I'm gonna play around with this, and this could help not just in that, and that could help in business cards creation, social media posts. I don't know. I gotta just browse through it and play around with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And thank you for allowing us to connect with you guys to ask for your opinion and help us out too. Thank you for that.
No problem. Hope it was useful, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah, this was great, guys. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
I'm gonna end the meeting now because getting a call here. But, I'll see you
Thanks,
guys on the other
guys.
side.
Bye bye.
Bye.